Glad to be here tonight. This was something that was very close to Clarence's heart. And I've been asked to say a few words about Steve. I've known Steve for 47 years. Not that I'm counting, but it is one of the longest relationships of my life. And for those 47 years, he's filled and he's graced my life with a lot of laughs, not many tears. It's been one of the greatest rock and roll friendships. When we met, and my recollection was we met at the Middletown Hullabaloo Club around 1966, and Steve was doing, I believe, the Turtles' Happy Together. But I knew I'd met somebody who drunk the same Kool-Aid that I had, and in the same quantities, which was a lot of it. It was rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll, every day, all the time. And whatever was left of the world after rock and roll, we decided how much could it actually matter. Politics, love, religion, money, mere blips on the screen of significance. Where's Steve? Oh, there he is. Sex, slightly larger blip, but still only slightly. For me and Steve, it was all about who your heroes were, who was better, Led Zeppelin or the Jeff Beck group. We'd ride the bus from Jersey to the Village, and we'd debate the entire way. We'd spend our afternoons in the Village sitting in front of a guitar player, watching every move of his hands, then go back to the basement, Steve's house, and try to get our guitars to make that sound, ending up only, it was like a screeching, horrific noise coming out. But to have somebody to make that noise with, when you really needed somebody, when you really needed to be understood, that was something. That was something. It was all Fender, Gibson, Vox. They weren't music companies to us. They were words of magical incantation, summon the gods. And we have summoned the gods together for a long time. So, there has been no better bandmate or wingman friend to me than Steve Van Zandt. Now all of this was almost ruined completely when we decided to live together for the one and only time in a 2-room attic apartment, living room and a kitchen, 6th Avenue in Asbury Park. It was low ceiling. We were at the top of the house in a short A-frame section of uninsulated roof. Steve's cot was here. Mine was about 6 steps directly opposite, right there. So it was sort of like a 2-man cell at Rahway Prison. Everything he does, I am privy to. Every sneeze, every cough, every romantic liaison must be meticulously planned. And everything I do is done under the watchful gaze of Steve Van Zandt. I remember at its best, we'd be laying there in the dark, lights out. I think the first Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young album came out. And I remember listening to Helpless over and over. And all was kind of a bliss. But then often as time passes and golden friendship warps into the familiarity of roomies, all is not so blissful. Now my recollection, and Steve may contradict me on this if he likes, is that Steve was a slob. No clothes picking up. No dishes doing. Leave the top of the toothpaste off. Piss on the toilet seat slop. He was an Oscar who forced me unwillingly into the Felix role. So one day, the dishes are piled into an Everest-like calamity in the sink. I know that Steve will never do these dishes, so somebody has to. One late afternoon, I get the detergent out, I get the suds going pretty good. I'm making some pretty good headway, and the phone rings. I go to the living room. It's my girlfriend at the moment. She's disappointed in me in some way. And a 45-minute discussion ensues. Interrupted only by loud banging and slamming at our apartment door. I go down the stairs, I open the door, and there's our neighbor, the guy that lives underneath us. It goes like this. I go into his apartment, where it is pissing down water. His walls, his bed, like Niagara Falls. And I realize I have left the sink running. And so we had to move out. I recount this incident only because I believe it saved our relationship. And it's the reason I'm here tonight. Asbury Park flood of 1969. Steve is a part of my brain that always wants it louder, harder, more raucous, more please, a little more than that. Steve is my first audience when I write or I create something. I'm always thinking, what's Steve gonna think? I may not always take his advice, but I'm always wondering what his opinion is. And whether Steve was alongside of me in the band or whether he wasn't, that part of our friendship always endured. Steve's entertaining, smart, funny, serious. Still with Steve that I laugh the loudest and the longest. The shade of his talents will be displayed, all the great songs, all the beautiful music he's made, his good deeds, master songwriter, master arranger, master frontman. I'm not going to make that joke, all right? Plotter, schemer, idealist, realist, cynic, true believer, my good friend. Last of the true believers in rock's transformation powers. What it might do in the world, and all the tough guy affectations can't mask his true heart. That's a heart that I've loved for a long time, and that I will love until some force, some all-knowing entity decides. Beatles, Stones.